Season 50, war number 3, and we're up against TCN. And this time my team will be Odin, Angela, and Werewolf by night. And this time I forgot to show the war map as well as my fights to begin with, but I will just let you know that I will be taking Path 9 in Section 1, Path 5 in Section 2, a Darkhawk, Arcade and Prowler miniboss, and that will be it for this war. As for the miniboss nodes, well, you're just gonna have to wait and see, or just look at the video thumbnail or something. They should be visible right there. Now, the first fight here is an invisible woman on the S50 Incinerate and Poison node, the first one here, and I'm taking the fight with Angela using all 3 of Odin's pre-fights. Now, invisible woman is a tactic defender, but Angela being a tactic attacker, all you need is that clarity passive, and then the defense tactic is meaningless. Now, the Odin pre-fights here help Angela's sig ability, due to them being unique buffs, and that means that after getting a few of her own, even a low sig Angela can completely shut down the hazard shift debuffs, and you can see throughout the latter half of that fight I wasn't getting any of the debuffs on me. Now the debuffs were still triggering, but they just had 0 duration. Then we have a Vision Aarkus here on the Hazard Shit Incinerate and Poison node, along with Power Focus 1, as well as the Indestructible whenever the attacking champion gains a bar of power. Now for this node, I'm taking the fight with Werewolf by night. He reduces the duration of incoming poison debuffs by 90%, so he is free to hit the defender here during the poison phase of the Hazard Shit node. The incinerates are still a problem, so to avoid most of the damage and to avoid stacking too many of those on myself, I simply just avoid hitting the opponent during the incinerate phase, dance around, hit the block with mediums to trigger ruptures, and slowly but surely let him down with those. And then, once the poison phase rolls around, I'm free to get as aggressive as I want, and well, single special 2, and this vision is already down to under 20%. Werewolf by night's damage output is quite good. He's not the fastest nuke for really anything, but he's a very safe champion, and there's only a handful of defenders that he can't take. And the main thing that allows that for his playstyle is the fact that he can take most fights by simply hitting the opponent's block and triggering the ruptures. Similar to Valkyrie, but a little bit more versatile in my opinion. Then we have a Spider-Punk on the Ebb and Flow Intercept and I believe Sadist nodes, and I'm taking the fight with Angela. Now against Spider-Punk, all you really want to do is just bait the special 1 over and over again. It's very simple to avoid, and generally speaking you don't want to intercept him. If you try to intercept him and you don't have anything to counter evade, he will evade out of your intercept, passively stun you, and then punish you. So once again, that is another defensive ability that the Clarity attack tactic completely shuts off, making Spider-Punk's only real defensive threat completely useless. Now, knowing that I could intercept here, I was still not going for too many intercepts for some reason. At this point I don't even remember, since it's been a while since this war was actually played, but well, I guess I just figured I might as well play it slow and steady, or I forgot that the tactic counters evade. Honestly, I don't know at this point, but it's alright. Spider-Punk here is only a 6-star, so he's not all too tanky, and even as a 7-star, his health pool is not the biggest, considering he is a Spider-Man champion. Most of them, if not all, are pretty squishy. Fight goes down, no issues there for Angela, but this next one here, on paper, should be a great matchup, but we'll see how it goes. So we have a Killmonger on the Mighty Charge and Ebb and Flow intercept nodes here, and I'm taking the fight with Angela. Now, managing Killmonger's power gain here is the key to avoiding most, if not all, of the reverberation damage, and then if you mismanage the power bars he has, you can simply throw Angela's own special attack, Armor Break Killmonger, and that also shuts down the reverb. Now, in this specific matchup there is a bug with the interaction of Angela's armor breaks as well as Killmonger's power gain from receiving debuffs. And that happened right there. While taking this fight, I was well aware of the bug, but I forgot about it. I forgot how to avoid it, so I'm over here eating this special 3 because of it. To quickly explain, if you throw a special with Angela on the exact same frame, you land a basic attack. The power gain from triggering all the armor break debuffs still triggers on Killmonger, shooting him straight up the special 3, which normally shouldn't happen since armor breaks shut down his ability to gain power from debuffs along with the reverb. So the way to avoid it is that you simply don't throw your special on the exact same frame as you land a hit. It sounds easy enough to avoid, but surprisingly enough, I do run into it quite often. I just need to chill a little bit with my inputs and not go for them frame perfect, since, well, that can happen. It is a bug that I have reported, so it should hopefully be getting fixed soon enough, but as far as I can tell, it is still happening to this day, so if you ever need to do the matchup, just remember that. And yeah, it is safer to just intercept with your special instead, so you completely avoid hitting the basic attack, which then means you cannot run into that issue. Now then, we have a Darkhawk here on the Mega Stand, and when I open Miniboss Node and I'm taking the fight with Angela. On paper this fight might seem quite annoying, with the shield form or shield face, whatever it's called, on Darkhawk, or knockdowns, combined with when I open preventing me from parrying or hitting him while he is parry stunned, as well as then the Mega Stand protection. However, in action, this fight is actually quite simple. So when the protection is up, you can really just parry and hit him, since you're not dealing basically any damage to the opponent, you're not taking any damage on the one I open node either, so it's fine, you don't have to worry about it. Now at this point, I can just simply bait special ones, punish them, and then spam my special one for the Furies and for the knockdowns for the Mega Stand node as well. The shield mode will trigger on every knockdown, but since the clarity from the attack tactic completely shuts down auto block, it doesn't do anything, so this is a very simple fight. Now the shield mode will still inflict the burst damage if you try to hit his block, so don't do that, you can just bait heavies for openings, or the special ones as I did there. Overall, the fight was very simple, and Angela, she hits very hard. Now, well, it was only a 6-star, but still. Then we have an arcade here on the Hazard Shift, Incinerate and Shock node, along with Aggression Prowess, as well as the node that lowers your defensive ability accuracy for each debuff on you. I forgot the name of it, but essentially it means that if I get any of the Hazard Shift debuffs on me, I cannot trust my parry mastery, and that's about it. But now at this point in the fight, with all the unique buffs I have, I'm not gonna be having any debuffs on me, so I can essentially completely ignore the node. Now, as I have explained in the previous few fights, Arcade, while he can be annoying to fight against, if you just know how he works, he's not all that bad, and even then if you make a mistake like I did here and allowed him to use a special one, the attack tactic with the clarity allows you to completely ignore his own auto block as well, so him using the special one there, or stacking up some of those tokens, it does not make a difference, he just gets completely melted by Angela, and yeah, her utility is pretty damn good. She's a fairly simple champion to play, but she is very powerful. Now, then we have the final fight of this war. Actually, no, I lied. It's not the final one. I do have a I do have an Onslaught boss after this as well, which I kind of forgot about. But the fight right here is a Prowler on the Conflictor and Combat Attribute Prowess mini-boss node. I'm taking the fight with Angela. I do have the White Magneto pre-fight active here, allowing me to land parry stuns without the debuff being eaten by Conflictor, since the parry stun is now passive. Now, one thing that Angela does here that actually makes this fight extremely simple is that she can actually parry non-contact hits. So the non-contact mediums that Prowler has, you don't have to worry about it, you don't have to try for re-parries, you can simply parry his first medium, hit him a few times, and repeat until the fight is done. Now Angela does not counter miss in any way, so you still cannot punish Prowler's special attacks, but that's fine. You don't need to do that, either just parry his basic attacks, beta heavy, or just land an intercept for your openings and you're good to go. Preferably avoid pushing him to a special 2 though, especially on that node, otherwise you might take some chip damage by blocking, and if he has the impact charge or prowesses, it can hurt quite a bit. Now then, here we have an Onslaught as the final boss and final fight of this war, and I'm taking the fight with Werewolf by Night. I've taken this matchup in previous seasons and it's very simple. Essentially I only hit into Onslaught's block, building up my charges for the curse to activate, I believe that's what it's called. Slowly get into my special 2 to power gain from it, and then while the curse is active I just drop my special 2 and let it do its thing, and then go back to hitting the block only. Now, the reason why I'm only hitting Onslaught's block here is because blocked hits do not inflict neuroshocks. So I don't have to worry about any of the chip damage from those, I can just simply play it safe, go for a medium into block, back away and repeat, and slowly but surely he will melt from the ruptures. Now if I wanted to speed things up a little bit, I could hit him quite a bit at the start of the fight to make sure he has at least 3 buffs on himself, because if the opponent has at least 3 buffs, the curse will be paused even if you are not attacking the opponent. And that is very useful in extending your damaging phase, I guess, but overall it's not really needed. But now as you can see, even when I'm far away from him, the curse is paused. It will not stay paused if you're close and not attacking though, so it will eventually run out, but the duration is greatly increased by allowing the defender to have a couple buffs. One reason why this might not be the best idea is because the physical resistance buffs do lower your damage output quite a bit throughout the fight, but if you don't stack too many of them, which you won't if you're only hitting block, it should be fine. And yeah, as long as you can fully dex special 1, you should be able to do this fairly simply and easily, even with a 6-star Werewolf by Night. Mine is a 7-star rank 3, but that's a little bit overkill. All you're gonna have to do with a 6-star is just 1 or 2 more special 2s, which might be concerning looking at the clock, but there's still half the time left. He's below 20%, so if you are struggling with the time, just hit him directly. It makes the fight a little bit scarier in terms of your own health, but as long as you can just full dex the special ones, you will be fine. And that's about all there is to say about this fight. Now there is also the crush charge to worry about, so whenever you do have it, and you get it whenever you hit multiples of 10 on your combo meter, which again doesn't happen if you only hit the block. But whenever you do get it, just don't try to beta heavy or anything, just back away, let Onslaught attack in the air with, avoid the hit, and then let the crush charge or the debuff fall off before you go back to punishing heavies or just, well, doing what you were, hitting the block. Onslaught goes down, no issues there. It was a slower fight than usual, but still a very, very safe fight. As for the results, we did end up losing the war 5-8. So once again, quite a bad war from us. and definitely didn't deserve to win the war on 8 deaths, but it still stings a bit, to say the least.